Evening, ladies. Live stream as promised. I didn't have that many questions tonight. Just a couple from Lauren and Andy. And there's a thread in here that Deanna started around using the word bitch. I want to talk about that a little bit too. And I got new sunglasses today, which I'm dying to show you guys. I was at the eye doctor. And so one kid says they're really cool. Another kid says I look like a total goof. But I'm going to show you those too. So the first thing I want to talk about is scheduling and routines in general. And Lauren Erickson actually asked me about this. And I think it was around figuring out a way to get everything done that feels good or that feels manageable. And I'm actually like the scheduling queen. If you ever work with me one-on-one, one of the first things that we talk about is how to use a Google Calendar appropriately and how to view a calendar not as your boss but as your slave, because it relieves an enormous amount of mental pressure and frees up all kinds of energy when you do it properly. So I want to talk about that first. Whether you have a mindset routine, a daily practice, client work, client calls, you're juggling your kids, doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, whatever it is, the first thing I ask my clients to do is put their entire lives on a Google Calendar. And the vast majority are resisting that because they already have a sense that they're overscheduled. They know that it's just going to be too much. Yeah, Sarah learned. And so when you do that, you're able to see exactly where you are struggling and why. It's not always going to work the first time around that you're putting everything on the calendar, but by putting it on a calendar, you're forced to face your reality, okay? And then the second thing that you can do with that information is schedule things that work in your favor. Meaning, if you're not a morning person, don't say that you're going to get up at 7 a.m. and do a mindset routine. That would just be silly, right? I mean, I hate mornings. You'll never see me up that early. So if I'm going to do anything mindset or gratitude related or journaling, it's either going to be late afternoon or evening before bed. But it's on the calendar because, you know, I've got to get it done. I don't believe in to-do lists. I think to-do lists detract from your capacity to get things done. They make you feel like shit because they never really seem to shrink. Every day the list is about the same length, so you feel like you don't accomplish anything or get any further towards success. And they just become really mentally draining. So, hey, Dania. Hi, Joy. Yeah, you caught it. You caught me live. Hi, Erin. So what happens is we have the best intentions and we jot down these things that we know we have to accomplish that week or relatively soon. And we get caught up in other things like social media, serving clients, writing copy, working on a website, whatever function it is that you're creating a new package. Something else is going on that becomes more pressing. And so the list gets longer and longer, or it stays relatively the same. We beat the shit out of ourselves. We didn't get anything done, yada, yada, yada. Don't do that. Just don't, right? There's a better way to do this. And so this is about Google Calendar. Some people prefer paper calendar. I don't like it because it requires crossing out or erasing to reschedule, and I'll explain that in a minute. So first things first. First day you're using Google Calendar, you put your whole life on there. You realize that you're ridiculously overscheduled, you're not Superwoman, nobody could ever get all that done, and then you need to figure out what's going to be eliminated from your schedule. What actually doesn't have to happen, what can you assign or outsource to others, or what can you really just put off because it's not making money. My cat's saying hello. And you reassess from there. That's step one. Step two is, as the week goes on, you're figuring out how much time it actually takes to do the tasks you have on your calendar. You may give yourself 30 minutes for mindset and realize it takes 45. You may give yourself an hour for dinner and realize it takes 30 minutes to prep and then an hour to feed your family. And when I say everything goes on the calendar, I mean everything. Breakfast, dinner, lunch, nap, whatever the fuck needs to happen has to be on there, because you really need to see where you're spending your time right now before you can change that effectively. Okay? So that's the first step. Then we start to rearrange and outsource and make it more lean. What has to happen today for me to make money? What exercises or tasks are the most important for me to go after in order to get this shit done? Okay? The other thing that happens is when you're no longer writing things on a to-do list, you're going to go straight to your Google Calendar and schedule it. So You know you've got this thing that you're creating or that you have to work on in the background, whether it's the sales page or the purchase buttons or the FAQ or the money back guarantee or whatever it is. There's a list of things that goes into creating an offer. I'm just using this as an example. You wouldn't go to your Google Calendar and say, okay, I'm going to do all that in one day, because you've got a fucking life and you have other things that are going to take precedence. But what you'll do is you'll say, okay, Wednesday at 11, from 11 to 12, I'm going to work on the sales page. And then after the kids go to bed from 8 to 9, I'm going to work on the payment buttons and some graphics or whatever. But you're going to start to actually schedule these things in particular places. You're not going to keep a to-do list anymore. And what that means is you don't have a piece of paper with a million things written down on it, right? And so you're not constantly turning over the chatter. Oh my God, I got to do this, and I got to do that, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. And at the end of the day, when the list is the same length and you feel like shit, that doesn't happen anymore. So what you do is you go to your calendar and you schedule it. And you do it item by item by item throughout the week. This is how it's going to look. Now, life happens. Kids get sick. Something comes up. You have an emergency elsewhere. Client cancels. Whatever it may be. You know it's time to go and do XYZ task. You've got an hour scheduled. Oh, kid's sick, I can't do it. So what you do is you go right to the calendar. You take that task and you reschedule it to another slot. Whether it's later that night when your spouse gets home and you got somebody to help with the sick kid, or it's later in the week. But you no longer keep a to-do list. A to-do list hurts you. It hurts you badly. There's a saying for my one-on-one clients: show me your calendar and I will tell you how much money you make. If you can't schedule it, forget about it. Just forget about it. You get to a certain point in business where you cannot wing it anymore. In other words, that in many cases, this is somebody's ULP. This is their upper limit problem. Their inability to focus and use a calendar. Oh, I can't, it feels too restrictive. Oh, I don't want somebody telling me what to do. Oh, the thought of a calendar, it just, I want to break out of that. Well, how bad do you want to succeed? That's the bottom line here. You get to a certain point where you can no longer keep mental track of everything that needs to be done. You can no longer rely on a to-do list. You need to feel a measure of success in order to keep going, because as a 6 or 7 figure business owner, you've got a metric shit ton of work to do. And to keep that pace and to feel successful and to consistently show up on a regular basis and keep that money coming in and keep creating and feeling in a high vibe, you've got to have a system. So for the people that say, I can't use the calendar because fill in the blank, I'm calling you on your bullshit. You can use a calendar if you want to succeed badly enough. Some people don't want it that bad, and that's okay. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you can't have it both ways. When I started using a calendar a few years ago, I felt it was very restrictive and very weird. I rebelled against it. I didn't want to do it when the calendar dinged. And one of the reasons I like Google Calendar is it pings my phone, it sends me an email, and it interrupts me if I'm on another application on my computer. So it's impossible to forget something or let it slide by. But I did resist it. And what I realized was it wasn't the calendar telling me what to do. It was past me trying to help future me navigate my life more successfully. And so it was past me and present me working toward a better future me, and I was all about a better future me, so I owed it to myself to give it a shot. And when I truly stopped using the to-do list and really went all in with the calendar, that's when things changed. So, Lauren, to answer your question, a routine that feels good. Anything that's new is inherently going to feel different or uncomfortable or strange. Just because it's new, it's not a habit yet. And that's okay. The difference between the amateur and the pro is their ability to stick with something that they know is best for their business and to get them to that place of success that they want to go. So if your routine doesn't feel good, what I need you to think about evaluating is, are you scheduling things at a time of day when it's not smart for you? And by that I mean, if you're not a morning person, a 7 a.m. wake-up call with meditation probably isn't going to work. Or If you like to go to bed early, scheduling gratitude journaling for midnight, that would not be smart. You're not setting yourself up for success. So in one sense, I understand you don't want to do that because it should feel good. It should feel natural. You should be setting yourself up to succeed. I'm getting a little repetitive here. But on the other hand, for people that just, I can't use a calendar, it just feels so uncomfortable, or it's too restrictive, or if you are using it properly, no longer relying on a to-do list, what you're going to learn is that it's incredibly mentally freeing. There is no longer a worry you're forgetting something. There's no longer a worry that you don't have time to get something done, because you've put everything on your calendar, basically vomited your life onto the page, established what you can handle and what needs to be outsourced, figured out the best times of day for you to do particular tasks, or which days of the week are better for clients and which days are better for creativity, depending on how you work. And you're working with your best skills in mind. You know, you're helping yourself. So you can work with the calendar. It may not feel normal at the beginning. It may feel a little bit strange or uncomfortable. You might be frightened by the amount of shit that you end up putting on the calendar, but that's good, because in order to succeed and to get past this, you've got to evaluate what you have going on and what is not working. That's the only way, right? You got to figure out what isn't working so that you can get it to work for you. So routines that feel good, they're going to be different for everybody. But unless you try them and figure out, you know, we don't need to be getting scheduled down to the minute here. It doesn't matter if it takes you from 9:07 or until 9:15, right? That would be just a little bit silly. And you always want to leave some space between appointments so that you can reset yourself before you have to get back on the phone or switch to a different task. You don't have to be that disciplined. But I guess the point is, the amount of discipline that you bring to the calendar is going to predict your success or failure. If you're the kind of person that really resists a calendar, then you probably want to be a little looser about it, you know, the structure, but you still need to do it. If you're the kind of person that needs moment by moment, blow by blow, this is what to do next, then you're going to want to be a lot more rigid. Again, you've got to play with this stuff and figure out what works best for you. However, I'm going to say it again because it's really important. You will all get to a point in business where you will not be able to get any further unless you start using systems like calendars and outsourcing tasks that are not in your zone of genius, because you'll be stuck at that limit, that ceiling. You're only one person. You can't do everything yourself. And that might mean somebody comes in to clean your house once a week or do your laundry. Or it might mean a VA to do your billing and invoicing and contracts and schedule. Or it might mean both, right? But when you get to that stage where there's just so much to be done and you're only one person, this is when a lot of people start saying, oh, routines and calendars and scheduling, and oh, I'm overwhelmed. It's because the system isn't working for the amount of work you have going on. And you've got to address that. Or your income is going to stay limited. And hopefully that makes sense. Hey, Christina. Hi, Andy. How are you? Danny, I'm so happy I stopped doing that. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. So the to-do lists, get rid of them. Axe them. Exterminate them. Gone. They will drain the fucking life out of you if you let them. Don't do it. Just go straight to Google Calendar and start scheduling shit. Really. That one thing will change your life. And Lauren, if you have more specific questions about how to set things up on a calendar or times of day that work better for you, etc., then obviously feel free to hit me up in the comments. Andy said that she's got a 4-week course coming up and she needs a sales funnel. This is a course for budding coaches. What I gleaned from the commentary that she left, and I only looked at it quickly, I apologize, I don't have a ton of notes here, was that this is for beginner coaches. It's 4 weeks. It's how to set shit up, how to find your clients, how to put yourself out there, etc., etc. The basics. That's the kind of stuff you need. And she needs a sales funnel for that. Christina says, I resisted the calendar when you first told me, but it has made a huge difference. Yeah, it always does. Tammy, I started doing time blocking and it's helpful. Time blocking is helpful too. For those who don't know, that's when you decide on a particular task for a block of time or for a full day. So for example, some coaches will only see clients Tuesdays and Thursdays because they want to be doing the same type of work all day long. That their brain works better that way. I actually prefer to shake it up. You know, give me a 30-minute consult in the morning, a 3-hour block of free social media and creativity time, and then a 1-hour appointment in the afternoon with a one-on-one client, and I'm happy. I like everything different all day long. But the point is to figure out what works. Okay, back to Andy and the sales funnel. Whenever you're working on selling a group program of any kind, you want to make sure that you've got a broad platform. What do I mean? I mean that people need to know who you are, and they need to know what you do. So your name and face should pretty much be synonymous with whatever it is you're offering. Not an easy thing when everybody's on the internet screaming, look at me, look at me, look at me. So that means that you really need to amp up your efforts. In addition to that part, with that platform, you want specifics on a sales funnel. What do you offer now? How do you get people in the door now? What do you charge for one-on-one versus what are you going to charge for this program? Do you have a tripwire? Do you know what a tripwire is? There are so many variables that can go into a sales funnel. I could literally, oh, thanks, Kelly. Thank you. I have sunglasses to show you guys too. Wait till you check out this shit. I'm so excited about them. It was like kind of a splurge for me. There are so many components that go into a sales funnel. We could talk about this forever. So one of the most successful funnels I ever used was actually quite simple. I did Facebook ads. And the ads were for a webinar series. And the webinar series was 3 phases. The first webinar I did was on pricing. The second one was on who I was and how I got there, and how I help people. And then, you know, a rapid fire Q&A. And then the third one was on packaging. And these were, the webinar 1 and webinar 3 were the basics that people, beginning coaches, really needed to learn. Webinar 2 was about who I was and where I had gotten this knowledge, so they understood where I was coming from and that I wasn't talking out of my ass, basically. When they opted in for any of those webinars, or all 3, you know, many people did the series, they then got an email with, you know, the call-in details, and oh, by the way, join my Facebook group. You know, I think I called it the private discussion group or something, or exclusive discussion group. It was this group, the Entrepreneur Incubator. And what I did was I spent about 20 hours a day inside the Entrepreneur Incubator doing nothing but promoting conversations. I didn't do video back then, but so promoting conversations, having threads where I answered whatever questions they need. I rewrote copy on the spot. I provided literally everything that they needed. And if I didn't have the answer, I would find somebody who did have the answer and refer them to them. I did that for 6 weeks. And I don't recommend doing that for 6 weeks because what happened was I was, you know, it was less than 4 hours of sleep a night, and I ended up in bed for 3 weeks with norovirus, which was one of the most painful experiences of my life. So don't do that. But so that was the most successful funnel I had. Facebook ad to webinar, invitation to the Facebook group. And, you know, what you're doing in any funnel is purposely trying to build up the know, like, and trust factor. So in addition to seeing the Facebook ads and being on the webinar and hearing your voice and getting an understanding of where your knowledge and skill set lies and seeing how you interact with people, they then had the opportunity to hang out with me inside that Facebook group every fucking day, all day long, because that's all I did. I was on a mission, and the reason that I did it that way, I do everything big, and I'll be straight up honest with you. I spent $21,000 on Facebook ads in 6 weeks, and I made $500,000 on the launch. I knew I wanted to go big going into it, so I was going to throw everything that I had at it. But again, I don't recommend it because in the end, I was really sick, and you know, I've learned a lot about self-care since then. It's just not a good idea. So hopefully that helps. I would say, you know, on one hand, I always advise clients that you want to have a broader platform because group courses are harder to sell. Everybody believes, incorrectly I might add, everybody believes that they need one-on-one support. And so, oh, I don't want to just be one of those people that takes another course and another course and another course and, oh, I really need some individual attention. That's not always true, okay? But because they have this preconceived notion that they need one-on-one, it can be a more difficult sell. Given that it can be a more difficult sell, you really want to have a broader platform. You really want to be known as the person who helps people do X, Y, and Z before you come out with a course. Now, this isn't true in all cases, and I'm going to explain. When I launched my course and I launched this group, I was brand fucking new to business coaching, and I mean brand new. I had been a writing coach for many years. I had lots of experience in the online arena and as an online coach, but probably only did 4 or 5 free sessions, and then started taking paid clients on, I did one-off sessions, 1-hour sessions for $500. And they were very popular, and people were getting results, and I loved doing the work. So I thought, well, I could create a course. And I talked to a Facebook ads marketing expert, and I hired her, and then I hired somebody else to help me put the course materials together. And I realized that halfway into it, I really needed a broader platform. I really needed to get in front of my right people if I was going to be able to sell this thing for $2,000 a whack, and it's a 12-week group program. I was selling something that it has nothing to do with B-School, but I was selling it just before B-School was coming out. It was for budding coaches. It was, 12 weeks long, and it was $2,000. So it was like, are people going to invest in this? Are they going to wait for B-School? Am I marketing the same people? It was really trial by fire. And obviously I learned a lot. So once we were halfway into it and I realized all these other components were taking place, I was like, that's it, balls to the wall. I've already spent a shit ton of money on Facebook ads. I'm not going to let it go out the window. And I really amped it up and spent a ton of time inside my Facebook group helping people, giving away content and information, just busting my ass, basically. And I paid for it. I mean, I was sick as a dog for a while. So, Marilyn Thomas Pierce, when did you start online? I started online 9 years ago. The best way to grow your group to 12K is that the Facebook ads investment. When I did the Facebook ads investment, the group grew to about 5,000, and I have not advertised since. And in fact, last year I closed membership for about 3 months. I wouldn't let anybody else in. And then again this year I closed it for about 6 weeks. I just started letting people back in last week. So we could easily have been over that. I have, within the last month or so, maybe it's been a little more, you guys will straighten me out if I got it wrong, but I've been much more present in this group for a variety of reasons. I was starting to not like where the vibe was going. I had stepped away from it to work on other projects, and it was becoming far too spammy, and people were not being respectful of one another, and I didn't like the way it was going. So I've been spending a lot more time in here, live streaming, telling people to step up or get the fuck out, telling people what I expected of the people that were going to stay, and being clear about parameters and boundaries, So, Michelle, Becky, is your suggestion to spend less on Facebook ads and scale up? It depends on your goal, Michelle. It depends on your goal. My unabashed goal was to sell 200 slots in a brand new course from a brand new business coach for $2,000 a piece. And I was going to do whatever it took to make that happen. And I did, But I guess, I can't tell you how much to spend on a Facebook ad or how much not to spend. What is the purpose of your group? What is the goal for your group? Are you selling out of it? Is it just another place for people to hang out? Are you going to sell a group course from it? And what's your time frame? Because that makes a big difference too. If I wasn't, on a 6-week launch time frame, I never would have dropped $20,000, $21,000 on Facebook ads. That's a huge risk. But I also knew myself well enough to know that I wasn't going to fucking fail. I'd do anything I had to do. Tammy, I don't like when groups are too big. It feels more intimate. When groups are too big, it gets difficult. I agree. And I've been working hard at culling people and making sure that we're of the same mindset here. Marlene, the culture of the group is so important. Thanks for the response. You're quite welcome. Michelle, good points. Okay, good. Kelly, I love that you're more present. Well, I'm so glad. Michelle, still no men. Yeah, I don't know what to do about the men thing. I get 1 million men requests every day, and I'm firmly on the fence with that. I asked in this group before if you guys wanted men, and it truly was like a 50-50 yes, hell yes and hell no. So I'm not sure. Joy, I love your transparency. To serve people takes everything you have. It truly does. It truly does. And this is when, we talk about all the time how you can pretend to be somebody you're not, or you can do something to make money, but it's not going to be sustainable, because if you're not passionate about it, if you don't fucking absolutely love what you do, if you're not flying out of bed in the morning to get downstairs and get to the computer and give people a hand, it's not going to be something that you're going to do for very long, because it does take everything you have. You've got to really be a person who has an overarching goal, or I don't want to say a mission, but a mission. I mean, what's your mission? What's my mission? My mission is empowering women to make sure that they never have to stay in a shitty situation again the rest of their lives. You're not going to be in a relationship that sucks. You're not going to stay in a house that you don't like. You're not going to be with a person who doesn't respect you or love you because of finances. I want to teach every woman that I can reach how to put money in their own hands. And the reason that I'm so passionate about that is I know what it's like to be stuck in a place that you don't belong, where you don't deserve to be, because of a lack of funds. And if I could turn that around to a 7-figure business, I guarantee you any woman who's watching this can. And that's a fucking fact. That is a fact. There is nothing special about me. And so that's my mission. What's yours? Let's see. I'm trying to see if I missed any other questions. Stephanie says, yes. Kelly, my Facebook group is my pride and joy right now, and you influenced how I run it. Oh, thank you. That makes me feel really good. Joy says, yes. Erin, oh, you keep looking at my hair? Okay, so here's my hairdresser story. You ready? You guys are going to love this. I went to do my photo shoot in New York City last year, and the photographer, who I adore, Deb Anderson, brings her own hair and makeup people. And the hairdresser is from New York City, and he is bi-coastal, basically. He has a salon at his place in New York, but he spends a lot of the time in Hollywood. He works with models, and he does movies. That's like his main gig, right? Well, I love the guy, and I needed a color, but we didn't have time to do a color when I was there for the photo shoot. So he said, well, you can come to my salon. I said, I can't. I got to get back to New Hampshire. I got to get back home. I said, would you come up there? And he said, sure. So, so I came home, and then about 2 weeks after I had the photo shoot, I flew him up here, and he did the cut and the color, and, you know, the guy's, like, fucking amazing. And then, you know, it costs a pretty penny, so I didn't do it again until October. We had him come back in October, and he doesn't just do, you know, my hair. He does my other halves and the kids and whoever needs a haircut. But I fly him up. He spends the day. He does everything in the house. He works on my hair in between my calls or my appointments, and then, you know, he flies back home. It's great. And so I hadn't seen him since October, and he was here on Friday. So this haircut's like 5 days old. And he does like 2 or 3 different colors. He cuts it dry. He's like the ultimate pro. And then he did my kids, and he did Bruce, my other half. And this is like my special treat. So thank you very much for noticing the hair. I'm damn proud of it. If anybody else wants him, his name is Livio Angelari, and he's fucking amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Hell of a nice guy, too. He speaks like 4 languages. Shelly, that's why I love you, doll. Well, thank you very much. Great mission. For the life of me, I cannot make sales exciting. Michelle, aren't you a fucking sales coach? Talk to me about that. Okay, that's a problem. Tammy says, that made me cheer out loud. Yeah. Do you have a 7-figure business? Sharon Love. Yeah, I have a multiple 7-figure business. But, yeah, how could you not know this? You're in my group. You've been in my group for a while. I know your name. What's up with that? How do I do this live video thing? I go on Facebook into my group, and I push the button where you can choose to add a photo or comment, and you'll see a little thing that comes up. It says live video, and then I push that, and I type in the title, and then I push go live. Michelle, anytime you need to fly me out to do makeup, you just let me know. Well, fuck yeah. I'm down with that. It's hot, Kelly says. Thank you very much. Michelle, I love selling, but I feel like a woman in my group aren't very excited about selling. What the heck? Okay. People in general, babe, are not excited about selling because it scares the fuck out of them. Did you get that? It scares them. They don't understand that the way that they were raised to think about sales is not what sales actually is, particularly as a coach. You can't help a fucking person if you're not showing up as yourself and letting them know you have services that will change their lives, just like I do every day. I can't help anybody if I'm not out talking about what I have available to help people. It's the same thing with what you're doing. They're not excited about sales because they've been taught that sales means being that icky, sleazy, slimy, gross car salesman, as Kendrick Shope would say. She's also a sales coach. And until they understand at a really deep and intimate level that that's not what sales is about, they're not going to be excited. So it's your job as the leader of that group and as a sales coach to show them that sales is not what they have been, taught to believe it is. It's something entirely different. It's totally beneficial, not just to them, but to the person that they're serving. Selling is serving. Selling is helping. All of these cliches, they're said for a reason. They are paying you money in exchange for information. That's the bottom line. How do you make that sexy and happy? You need to remove the fear piece. That's it. All right, now listen, before I get off this live stream, I'm dying for you guys to see these new sunglasses. Like I said, one kid told me, oh, shit, I almost just lost you guys, sorry. One kid told me that they were shit hot, and the other one told me I was a total goof. So you ready? Check this out. What do you think? Right? Are they fucking badass or what? I love them. I love them. This was my splurge today at the eye doctor. Good things. That'd be great if once I have my Mercedes, right? Anyway, okay, so enough of that. Babe! I love them. That's awesome. Okay, so hopefully this answers some questions about routines and scheduling, and in terms of sales funnels. If you guys have any other follow-ups, then please let me know. Before we get off this live stream, thank you guys so much. Before we get off this live stream, remember, it's almost 9 o'clock, so in 3 hours, the Money Mindset Mastermind is closed. This is the last live round, period, the end. This is the second one I've done this year, and prior to this, I haven't done it since 2012. The 45 women who were in the first round are fucking shrieking from the rooftops about the amazing shifts that they've had. I can tell you how awesome this is all day long. It's not going to fucking matter because it's my program. But please ask around. Do not miss out on this. You will kick yourself later, and you will kick yourself hard, and I am not blowing smoke up your ass. We talk about money stories and beliefs that you've been brought up with that you aren't even aware of that limit your income. We're talking about your relationship with money, how you perceive wealth, and what items in your life represent wealth. We're talking about guilt and shame around money. We're talking about needs versus wants and how you don't ever have to worry about money again. That's a fucking choice. We talk about radical responsibility. We talk about a shit ton of stuff in a 5-week live course. Plus you get the bonus materials, which include, by the way, 60 days in the 1% lab and an audio recording on visibility, showing up like I'm doing right now with me and Jen Scalia. So it's a lot of stuff, and it's really low. It's like $650. There's payment options. $225 gets you in the door. And I love teaching this, which is why I'm doing it again. So you've got until midnight Eastern Daylight Savings, and I really hope you get in there. I'm going to post the link in the comments below. And thank you for all the love on my new sunglasses. I'll see you guys later. Bye.